The champagne flute shattered against Giorgio Maltese's jaw before I'd consciously decided to throw it. Crystal exploded. Blood bloomed. 200 guests in the Venetian ballroom went silent as death. The string quartet's Vivaldi died mid-note. Every eye in the room locked on me, the nobody translator in the cheap black dress who just assaulted the second most powerful man in the Corsini crime family. Giorgio touched his split lip. Looked at the blood on his fingers. Then he smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a wolf that just realized the rabbit had teeth and found the discovery delicious. He took 3 slow steps toward me. I held my ground even though every survival instinct I possessed screamed run. His presence was a wall of controlled violence moving closer. 6'4" of Sicilian muscle and expensive suit, the kind of man who broke bones for a living and slept just fine afterward. The crowd parted. No one was stupid enough to stand between Giorgio Maltese and anything he'd decided to focus on. And right now his entire focus was on me. He stopped close enough that I could smell blood mixing with his cologne. Sandalwood and copper. Wealth and violence. His hand came up. Fast. I flinched. But he didn't hit me. His fingers, rough and scarred, traced the line of my jaw with shocking gentleness. Tilted my face up so I had no choice but to meet his eyes. They were the color of dark honey. Beautiful. Deadly. Absolutely amused. Piccola volpe. Little fox. His voice was low, meant only for me, rougher than expensive whiskey. You just made this the most interesting party I've been to in 5 years. His thumb brushed my lower lip. The touch sent electricity straight down my spine. No. Do it again. Not a request. A challenge. And I had exactly 3 seconds to decide if I was brave enough or stupid enough to accept it. My name is Chiara Nero, and 60 seconds ago my life had been boring. Predictable. Safe. Now I was staring into the eyes of Giorgio Maltese, the man they called Il Falco, the Falcon, and realizing that boring was about to become a very distant memory. If you're already hooked, hit subscribe now. Because what happens next will change everything. And you won't want to miss a single second of this girl's descent into beautiful, terrible chaos. Let me rewind. Give you context before the champagne and blood and the moment everything went sideways. I'd been hired 3 weeks ago as a translator for the Corsini family's legitimate businesses. Art acquisitions mostly. The Corsinis owned half of Venice's real estate, a quarter of its art galleries and all of its shadows. Everyone knew what they really were. But the art business was clean. The kind of work a linguistics graduate with student debt could take without completely selling her soul. Or so I'd told myself. The party was a charity gala. Black tie, champagne fountains, the kind of event where old money mingled with older crime and pretended they were different species. I was there to translate for a Russian collector interested in a Bellini the Corsinis had acquired. Simple job. In and out. Collect my fee and go home to my tiny apartment in Cannaregio where I belonged. I'd been standing by the terrace doors, watching Venice's lights shimmer on dark water when I'd overheard them. 2 men. Voices low. Speaking in a Calabrian dialect they assumed no one else in the room could understand. They assumed wrong. My mother was Calabrian. Had taught me the dialect before she taught me standard Italian. Had died when I was 12. Leaving me with her language and her dark eyes and a hole in my chest that never quite healed. So when the men talked about a shipment, about merchandise, about the container arriving Thursday at the Margara docks, my translator's brain catalogued it automatically. When they mentioned the girls, ages 12 to 16, I went very still. When they laughed about the buyers already lined up in Germany and France, my vision went red. I turned. Looked at them properly. One was thin, nervous. Someone's nephew given responsibility beyond his competence. The other was broader, older, with cold eyes and colder hands. Giorgio Maltese. Second in command to Luca Corsini. The enforcer. The problem solver. The man who made people disappear. And he was casually discussing human trafficking like it was a quarterly earnings report. I should have walked away. Should have pretended I hadn't understood. Should have gone home and forgotten everything I'd heard like a smart girl who wanted to keep breathing. Instead, I'd grabbed the nearest champagne flute and thrown it directly at his face. Which brought us to now. to Giorgio's hand on my jaw and his smile that promised either death or something far more complicated. Do it again. The ballroom held its breath. I raised my hand. He didn't flinch. Didn't move. Just watched me with those honey-dark eyes like he was daring me, hoping I would. I slapped him. Open palm across his face. Hard enough that my hands stung. Hard enough that the crack echoed in the silent room like a gunshot. His head barely moved. But something in his expression shifted. The amusement deepened. Became something darker. Hungrier. Brava. He caught my wrist before I could pull back. His grip was iron wrapped in velvet. You have fire, piccola volpe. I like fire. He turned my palm up, pressed his thumb into my racing pulse. But fire that doesn't know when to burn gets people killed. His eyes held mine. The message was clear. I just done something incredibly stupid. Something that in his world had consequences written in blood. You speak Calabrian. It wasn't a question. You understood every word I said. I understood enough. Then you know I should have you removed from this room. Quietly. Permanently. For eavesdropping on private business. His grip tightened slightly on my wrist. Not painful. Not yet. A warning. But I'm curious. What made you throw the glass, little fox? What made you so angry you forgot to be afraid? I met his gaze. Refused to look away even though terror was ice water in my veins. You were talking about children. About selling them like they were cargo. Like they were things instead of people. His smile went sharp. So you have a conscience. How inconvenient for you. He released my wrist. Step back. The crowd around us began to breathe again, to murmur, to pretend they hadn't just witnessed something that would be gossip for weeks. Come with me. No. That wasn't a request. His voice dropped lower. Became something that bypassed rational thought and went straight to the hindbrain that understood predator and prey. You have two choices, Chiara Nero. You come with me now willingly and we have a conversation. Or I have my men escort you out and you disappear. Permanently. Those are your options. My mouth was dry as sand. How do you know my name? I know everyone's name in this room. I know you were hired 3 weeks ago. I know you live alone. I know your mother was Calabrian and your father was nobody. I know exactly how much student debt you carry and exactly how desperate you were to take this job. He leaned closer. His breath was warm against my ear. I know everything about you, Chiara. The only thing I don't know yet is whether you're brave or just suicidal. He straightened, offered his arm like a gentleman at a dance. I looked at that offered arm. At the blood still on his lip from where the glass had cut him. At the man who trafficked children and smiled while doing it. At my only chance to maybe, possibly do something about it. I took his arm. His smile was triumphant. Terrifying. Good girl. Now walk with me like we're old friends. Smile. Puff. Make them think this is all some charming misunderstanding. Why? Because if they think you're a threat, they'll kill you before we reach the door. And I'm not done with you yet. We walked through the ballroom. I smiled. I laughed. I played the part of the silly girl who'd had too much champagne and gotten emotional. All while Giorgio's hand on my arm was a shackle, warm and unyielding, leading me toward whatever fate waited outside that glittering room. We stepped through French doors onto a private terrace. The night air was cool. Venice spread below us, beautiful and ancient and completely indifferent to the violence happening in its shadows. The moment the doors closed behind us, Giorgio released me. Put 3 feet of distance between us. Fast. Tell me why I shouldn't throw you off this terrace right now. Because you won't. His eyebrow rose. Confident. I like that. Stupid, but I like it. What makes you think I won't? Because if you wanted me dead, I'd already be dead. You had a dozen chances in that ballroom. But you brought me out here instead. Which means you want something. Smart and confident. He circled me slowly, predator assessing prey. Dangerous combination. What do you think I want, little fox? Information. You want to know who I am. What I know. Who I might have told. All true. But not complete. He stopped in front of me. Close again. Too close. I also want to know what you plan to do with what you heard. Because you have that look. That righteously furious look of someone who thinks they can make a difference. Who thinks they can stop the monsters. His hand came up, cupped my chin. Forced me to meet his eyes. You can't stop us, Chiara. This operation is bigger than me. Bigger than the Corsinis. Bigger than Venice. You're one translator with a conscience and no power. You go to the police, they're on our payroll. You go to the press, they're in our pocket. You go to Interpol, you'll be dead before your statement is recorded. So what do? Just let you traffic children and do nothing? You do what smart people do. You forget what you heard. You take the very generous payment I'm about to offer you for your silence. And you go back to your boring, safe life. He pulled out his wallet. Extracted a check. Held it where I could see. 50,000 euros. Enough to clear your debts. Start over somewhere else. All you have to do is walk away. I looked at the check. The financial freedom. At the easy answer. Then at Giorgio. At the man who thought everything had a price. I slapped him again. Harder this time. With every ounce of strength I had. His head actually snapped to the side. When he looked back at me, his lip was bleeding again. Fresh blood on old. And he was smiling. Really smiling. Not the predatory smile. Something genuine underneath the violence. Twice in one night. He touched his split lip, examined the blood. You are either the bravest woman I've ever met or the stupidest. Maybe both. Definitely both. He pocketed the check. Studied me with new intensity. You really won't take the money. I really won't. Even though refusing means I can't let you leave. Can't let you go to anyone with what you know. I'd already figured that out. And you're not afraid. I'm terrified. But I'm more angry than afraid. He laughed. Actual laughter. Rich and dark and surprised. You're either going to get me killed or drive me insane. Possibly both. He moved to the terrace railing. Looked out at Venice. The shipment you heard about. The girls. They're not Corsini business. Then whose? That's the question I've been asking for 3 months. Someone's using our routes, our contacts, our infrastructure. But it's not us. It's not sanctioned. And my boss, Luca, he'd burn the city down before he'd allow human trafficking under his name. So you're investigating it. I'm trying to stop it. Quietly. Before it blows back on us. Before it starts a war with the families who have actual morals about this kind of thing. There are families with morals. His smile was bitter. Surprisingly. We're criminals, Chiara, not monsters. Most of us have lines we don't cross. Children are one of them. So who's crossing the line? That's what I've been trying to find out. And I was close. Tonight, that conversation you overheard. That was Carlo, a soldier I've been tracking. He's part of it. But he's not running it. He's too stupid. Someone higher up is using our infrastructure to move merchandise. And you were going to let it happen. Let those girls get shipped. I was going to follow the shipment. Track it to whoever's buying. Find the chain of command. Then destroy everyone involved from the top down. He turned back to me. But now you've heard. Now you're a variable. And variables get people killed. So kill me. I would. It's the smart play. He moved closer again. This time when his hand came up, it wasn't aggressive. It was gentle. He brushed a strand of hair from my face. But I don't want to kill you, Chiara Nero. I want to use you. For what? You speak Calabrian. Russian. German. French. You've got a linguistics degree and you're smart enough to decode subtext in conversations. You're perfect cover as a legitimate employee. No one would suspect you. He stepped back. Offered his hand. Work with me. Help me find who's running this operation. Help me stop it. And when it's done, you can walk away with the satisfaction of actually saving those girls instead of just being angry about it. And if I refuse, then I lock you in a room until this is over. Because I can't let you leave. Can't let you risk the investigation. But I'd rather have you as an ally than a prisoner. Why should I trust you? You shouldn't. I'm a criminal. A killer. Everything your conscience says you should run from. He held my gaze. But I'm also the only chance those girls have. Because I have resources, access, and motivation to stop this quietly before it becomes public and the traffickers just shift operations somewhere else. You go loud with this, they disappear. You work with me, we end them. How do I know you're telling the truth? That this isn't Corsini business? You don't. You have to decide if you trust your instincts. And your instincts made you throw a glass at my face, which means they recognized something in that conversation that was wrong. Even for us. He was right. Something had felt off about Carlo's nervousness. About the way he talked about the operation like it was separate from normal business. What do you want me to do? Thursday. The shipment arrives at Margara. You'll be there as my translator for a legitimate meeting with Russian buyers. Real meeting, real business. But while we're there you'll listen. Decode. Tell me who's involved. And then we burn them all down. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? I'd agreed to work with a mafia enforcer to stop human traffickers. I'd gone from translator to informant to co-conspirator in the span of one champagne-soaked evening. Giorgio had driven me home himself. Black Mercedes, leather interior, the kind of car that cost more than I'd earn in 5 years. He'd walked me to my door like a gentleman. Checked my apartment for threats like a professional. Then he'd handed me a phone. Encrypted. One contact. Me. You see anything suspicious, you call. You feel like someone's watching, you call. You get scared and want out, you call and I'll pull you. Why are you being careful with me? Because you're valuable. And because. He paused. You remind me that not everyone in this world is rotten. That some people still have the spine to throw glasses at monsters. He'd left. I'd locked my door. And I'd spent the next 6 hours researching everything I could find about Giorgio Maltese. The information was sparse. The man was a ghost. No social media. No public records beyond the basics. Born in Palermo. Moved to Venice at 15. Rose through the Corsini ranks with terrifying speed. But there were rumors. Whispers on crime forums and true crime podcast. Il Falco didn't just enforce. He investigated. He cleaned up messes. He was Luca Corsini's scalpel, cutting out problems before they metastasized. And apparently child trafficking was a problem he wanted cut out. The question was, could I trust him? Thursday came too fast. Giorgio picked me up at dawn. Same Mercedes. Same expensive suit. Different energy. This was business mode. The playful predator from the party was gone. This was the enforcer. You remember the cover story? I'm translating for a meeting with Dmitry Volkov about importing Russian antiquities. Legitimate business. Good. While we're there, stay close to me. Listen to everything. Trust no one. Not even you. Especially not me. His smile was sharp. The Margara port was industrial decay wrapped in morning fog. Container ships loomed like sleeping giants. The smell of salt and diesel choked the air. We met Dmitry in a warehouse office. He was exactly what I'd expected. Thick neck, cold eyes, the kind of man who'd done violence and would do it again without hesitation. The meeting was tedious. Prices, shipping routes, customs officials who needed bribing. I translated mechanically, my real attention on the men moving through the warehouse below. Then I saw him. Carlo. The nervous soldier from the party. He was talking to someone I didn't recognize. Gesturing to a specific container. Looking around like he expected to be caught. I touched Giorgio's arm. Subtle. He told me no obvious signals. His eyes flicked to where I was looking. Back to Dmitry. He didn't miss a beat in the conversation. But I felt the shift in him. The coiling tension. The predator scenting prey. The meeting ended. Giorgio shook hands, all charm and business efficiency. We walked out through the warehouse. As we passed Carlo's container, Giorgio's phone rang. He answered. Listen. His expression went dark. Change of plans. His voice was ice. Get in the car. No. What happened? The shipment moved. It was supposed to arrive tonight. It's already here. Already being loaded for transport. His jaw tightened. They're moving the girls right now. We ran. The car screamed through port roads. Giorgio drove like he was being chased by demons. Maybe he was. Maybe we both were. He made 3 calls in rapid succession. Luca. Someone named Marco. Someone else whose name I didn't catch. Then he looked at me. I need you to stay in the car. Whatever happens, you stay in the car. You see me go down, you drive away. You call the police. You save yourself. I'm not leaving you. Kira. His voice cracked slightly. Please. I need to know you're safe. I need to be able to focus on stopping this without worrying about you catching a bullet. The car skidded to a stop near a loading dock. 3 black vans were parked with engines running. Men loading cargo. Human cargo. I saw them through the van windows. Girls. Young. Terrified. Exactly what Carlo had described. Giorgio's hand moved to the gun at his back. Stay. The car. He got out. Started walking toward the vans. Alone. I should have stayed. Should have listened. But I saw movement he didn't. Behind him. 2 men with guns emerging from shadows. I grabbed the encrypted phone. Hit his contact. He answered even though he was 20 feet away. Behind you. He spun. Gun out. 2 shots. Both men down before they could fire. Then chaos. More men appeared. Giorgio took cover behind a container. Returned fire. Professional. Efficient. Terrifying. I watched the man I'd slapped 2 days ago turn into something else. Something lethal. Then I saw her. A girl. Maybe 13. She'd gotten out of one of the vans during the confusion. Was running. Panicked. Toward the water. Toward the edge of the dock. She was going to fall. Was going to drown or get shot or both. I didn't think. I ran. Got out of the car. Sprinted across the loading area. Caught her before she reached the edge. She screamed. Fought me. Didn't understand I was trying to help. Chiara. Giorgio's voice. Furious. Terrified. Then pain exploded in my shoulder. Heat and fire and the distant crack of a gunshot. I'd been shot. The thought was distant. Clinical. That's what a bullet feels like. I went down. The girl fell with me. I covered her body with mine. Heard more gunshots. Shouting. Then silence. Giorgio was there. Kneeling beside me. His hands on my shoulder. Pressure. Pain. You stupid, brave, idiotic woman. His voice was shaking. Why didn't you stay in the car? The girl. I know. You saved her. You beautiful idiot, you saved her. He picked me up. Carried me like I weighed nothing. Put me in the back seat of the Mercedes. The girl climbed in beside me. Grabbed my hand. Said something in Romanian I didn't understand but didn't need to. Thank you. Giorgio drove. Faster than before. Made calls I couldn't follow through the pain and shock. We arrived at a private clinic. Not a hospital. Somewhere off the books. A doctor was waiting. Middle-aged woman. Competent hands. He cut away my shirt. Examined the wound. Through and through. Clean. You're lucky. Lucky felt relative when I'd been shot. Giorgio held my hand while she stitched me up. His grip was crushing. His eyes never left my face. When the doctor finished and stepped away to check on the girl, he leaned close. Never again. You hear me? You never risk yourself like that again. She was going to die. Let her. Let them all die if it means you survive. The rawness in his voice stopped my breath. You don't mean that. Don't I? He pressed his forehead to mine. I just watched you get shot, Chiara. I just saw you go down and for 3 seconds I thought I'd gotten you killed. For 3 seconds I wanted to burn the world down. His hands cupped my face. So yes. I mean it. Your life is worth more than this mission. More than those girls. More than anything. That's not true. It is to me. Then he kissed me. Not gentle. Not asking. Desperate and claiming and full of fear still coursing through him. I kissed back. Tasted blood and salt and something that felt dangerously like falling. When he pulled away, his eyes were burning. You're mine now, Piccola Volpe. You don't get to die. You don't get to be brave without me. You don't get to save the world unless I'm standing beside you. Is that an order? That's a vow. The girl's name was Elena. 13. From Romania. Sold by an uncle who owed gambling debts. She stayed at the clinic for 2 days while Giorgio hunted. He'd saved 6 girls from that shipment. 6 out of 12. The other 6 had been moved before his people arrived. Carlo was dead. Caught trying to run. Never made it past the port gate. But Carlo hadn't been the mastermind. Had barely been a cog. Giorgio needed the name at the top. And he needed it before they scattered and rebuilt elsewhere. I worked from the clinic bed. Files Giorgio brought me. Transcripts of intercepted calls. Financial records. My shoulder hurt. The stitches pulled. The doctor kept telling me to rest. I kept working. Because somewhere in these files was a pattern. A linguistic fingerprint. Something that would tell me who was running this operation. Giorgio came and went. He'd sit beside my bed when he was there. Hold my hand. Tell me what he'd found. 3 more names. All soldiers. All dead ends. Someone was cleaning up. Eliminating anyone who could talk. We're running out of time. His frustration bled through. They're going to disappear the whole operation. Move it somewhere else. Start over. Then we need to make them come to us. What? I sat up despite the pain. Set up a meeting. Use me as bait. Let it leak that you have a translator who heard something. Who might be willing to sell information. Absolutely not. Giorgio. They're already trying to kill me. I'm already a target. Use it. Well, why not? He stood. Pace. Because I can't watch you take another bullet. Can't use you as bait and maintain any part of my sanity. Can't risk you like that. You risk yourself every day. That's different. Why? Because you're a man? Because you're the criminal and I'm the civilian? Because you matter. The words exploded out of him. Raw. Unguarded. You matter, Chiara. To me. You matter more than this case. More than my reputation. More than finishing what we started. He came back to the bed. Knelt beside it. Took my good hand in both of his. I've spent 15 years in this life. 15 years getting harder. Colder. Caring about less. Building walls so high nothing could get through. His grip tightened. Then you threw a glass at my face. You slapped me. You looked at me like I was a monster and dared me to prove you wrong. And something I thought was dead started beating again. What? He pressed my hand to his chest. Over his heart. Whatever this is. Hope. Conscience. The possibility that I could be something other than Il Falco. His eyes held mine. You make me want to be better, Piccola Volpe. Make me want to deserve the way you look at me. And I can't use you as bait because if something happened to you, if I lost you, I'd become the worst version of myself. The one even I'm afraid of. Then help me be brave enough for both of us. I cupped his face with my good hand. Use me as bait. But be there. Protect me. Trust me to be smart. And when this is over, when those girls are safe, ask me again if I still matter. And if you still do, then maybe we figure out what this is between us. This thing that started with violence and somehow became something else. He kissed my palm. A vow. 3 days. We set it up for 3 days from now. Gives you time to heal. Gives us time to plan. We're public place. The party. Next week's charity gala. Same venue. We let it leak that you're coming back. That you're willing to talk. To sell what you know. And when they come for me. When they come I'll be there. And we end this. The gala was exactly like the first one. Same ballroom. Same crowd. Same champagne fountains and string quartets. But I was different. The borrowed dress was nicer this time. Emerald silk that made my dark eyes darker. My shoulder was healing. The stitches were out. But the scar remained. A reminder. Giorgio stayed close. Not touching. Professional distance. But I felt his attention like a physical thing. Knew he was tracking every person who came near me. We'd leaked the information carefully. Let Carlo's associates know there was a translator. Someone who'd heard something. Someone who might be persuaded to forget what she knew. For a price. The bait was set. Now we waited. I was talking to the Russian collector again. Actual business this time, actual translation, when I felt it. A shift in the room's energy. Someone watching with more than casual interest. I glanced over my collector's shoulder. Caught Giorgio's eye. He'd felt it too. Then a hand on my arm. Gentle but insistent. Signorina Nero. May I speak with you privately? I turned. A man. 60. Well-dressed. Familiar in a way I couldn't place. Of course. Giorgio was moving through the crowd. Not running. Not obvious. But closing distance. The man led me toward the terrace. The same terrace where Giorgio had offered me money to forget. We stepped outside. Cool air. Venice lights. Déjà vu so strong it was dizzying. You've been asking questions. The man's voice was cultured. Educated. About shipments. About operations that don't concern you. I'm just a translator. You're more than that. You're dangerous. Because you listen when you should have been deaf. Understood when you should have been ignorant. He pulled a gun. Fitted with a silencer. Nothing personal, my dear. But loose ends must be tied. Giorgio appeared behind him. Gun to the man's head. Drop it, Franco. Franco. The name clicked. Franco Grimaldi. Art dealer. Legitimate businessman. Luca Corsini's oldest friend. The betrayal on Giorgio's face was devastating. All this time, you were using our family. Franco smiled. Didn't drop the gun. The Corsinis are too sentimental. Too bound by outdated codes. There's money in suffering, Giorgio. Real money. And I was tired of playing poor while you all pretended to have morals. 3 more men appeared. Surrounding us. Franco's people. Drop your gun, Falcon. Or I shoot the girl and we all die here. Stand off. Giorgio's eyes met mine. And I saw the calculation. Saw him weighing odds. Saw him deciding if he could save me. Do it, Franco said. Drop the gun or she dies. Don't. I found my voice. Don't give up your weapon for me. He needs me alive. If he kills me, you'll burn the city down. You'll tell Luca. You'll destroy everything he's built. Smart girl. Franco's smile widened. But not quite right. I don't need you alive. I need you silent. And dead girls are very quiet. His finger started to squeeze the trigger. I dropped. Giorgio fired. Franco fell. Then chaos. Gunfire. Shouting. Giorgio grabbed me. Pulled me behind a column. More Corsini men appeared. Drawn by the gunfire. A firefight erupted on the terrace. We ran. Through the ballroom. Screaming guest. Downstairs. Into Venice's labyrinth of streets. Giorgio pulled me through alleys I didn't know existed. Over bridges. Past canals. Running until my lungs burned and my shoulders screamed. Finally, a safe house. Nondescript building. Heavy door. Up 3 flights of stairs. Inside he pulled me into his arms. Held me so tight I could barely breathe. You could have died. Twice in 1 week you almost died. But I didn't. Because I was there. Because I wouldn't let you. He pulled back. Looked at me. This ends now. No more bait. No more risks. I'm putting you somewhere safe while we clean this up. Well, not negotiable. Giorgio. I grabbed his shirt. Pulled him close. I'm already in this. Already a target. Hiding won't change that. The only way I'm safe is if we finish this. Then we finish it. Together. But you stay behind me. You don't take chances. You don't save anyone else until you've saved yourself first. Deal. I pulled him into a kiss. Not desperate this time. Certain. His arms came around me. Gentle despite his strength. Careful of my shoulder. When we broke apart, he pressed his forehead to mine. After this is over. When you're safe. When this nightmare is done. I'm taking you somewhere. Somewhere far from Venice and violence and ghosts. Or anywhere you want. Palermo. Rome. Paris. Anywhere you feel safe. I feel safe with you. His eyes closed. When they opened, they were wet. No one's ever said that to me before. No one's ever felt safe with me. Maybe they didn't know you the way I do. And how do you know me, Piccola Volpe? As the man who kills monsters. As the man who saved 6 girls. As the man who held my hand while I was stitched up and promised to burn the world down if I died. I touched his face. As Giorgio. Not Il Falco. Not the enforcer. Just Giorgio. He kissed me again. Deeper. A promise and a claim and a vow wrapped together. It took 3 days to dismantle Franco's operation. 3 days of raids. Quiet eliminations of people who'd gone too deep to ever surface clean. Giorgio worked with Luca directly now. The betrayal had cut deep. Franco had been family. Had been trusted. Had used that trust to build an empire of suffering. They found the other 6 girls. Brought them home. Reunited them with families when possible. Found safe places when not. Elena stayed with me. Didn't want to leave. Had attached herself to the woman who'd taken a bullet for her. We stayed at the safe house. Giorgio came when he could. Exhausted. Blood on his clothes more nights than not. But alive. Whole. On the 4th day it was over. Giorgio came to the safe house at dawn. Stood in the doorway. Something in his face had changed. It's done. The operation's dismantled. The buyers are either arrested or dead. The routes are burned. It's finished. And you? I'm free. For the first time in 15 years I'm free. He crossed to me. Took my hands. Luca's restructuring the family. Cutting out anyone who might have known and done nothing. Bringing in new people. People with actual morals. And he wants me to lead it. Wants me to be his right hand in building something better than what we were. It's good. It is. But it's still the life, Chiara. It's still crime. Still danger. Still blood. He looked at me with such naked vulnerability it hurt. I don't know if I can be good enough for you. Don't know if I can give you the clean, safe life you deserve. I don't want clean and safe. I want you. You say that now. But when the reality sets in, when you wake up next to a man with blood on his hands, then I'll wash your hands. Help you carry the weight. Stand beside you while you build something better. I touched his face. I'm not naive, Giorgio. I know what you are. What you've done. But I also know who you are under all of it. The man who saves children. Who holds me like I'm precious. Who looks at me like I'm home. That's who I want. All of him. Dark and light. He kissed me. Soft and reverent. Then marry me. The words hung in the air between us. What? Marry me, Chiara. Be my conscience. My partner. My reason to keep building instead of burning. He pulled a ring from his pocket. Simple. Beautiful. A sapphire the color of Venice's canals. Marry me and let me give you the world. Not Venice. Not this blood-soaked city. Somewhere new. Somewhere we can start fresh. Or New York. I have contacts there. Legitimate ones. Luca's been expanding into American markets. Art galleries. Real estate. Clean businesses that need someone with your language skills. He slid the ring onto my finger. We could disappear into Manhattan. Be nobody special. Just Giorgio and Chiara. A man trying to be better and the woman who makes him believe he can. What about Elena? He comes with us. We adopt her if she wants. Give her the life she should have had. I looked at the ring. At the man offering me escape and future and something that looked dangerously like happiness. Yes. His smile was sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes, I'll go to New York. Yes, I'll build a life with you. He picked me up. Spun me around despite my protests about my shoulder. Set me down and kissed me until I was dizzy. Tomorrow. Tonight. Whenever you want. Give me a month. Let me heal properly. Let Elena adjust. Let you finish with Luca. 1 month. Then I'm taking you and Elena and we're getting on a plane to JFK. I already have an apartment lined up in Tribeca. Riverviews. Big enough for the 3 of us. Clean slate. You've been planning this. Since the moment you slapped me. Maybe even before. He pulled me close. You changed everything, Piccola Volpe. Made me remember there's more to life than violence and vengeance. Made me want morning coffee and conversations and waking up next to someone who sees me and doesn't flinch. I don't flinch. I slap. Exactly. He laughed. My fierce, beautiful fox. What am I going to do with you? Love me. Protect me. Let me do the same for you. Deal. 1 month later we landed at JFK. New York hit me like a physical force. The noise. The speed. The sheer overwhelming energy of it. Venice had been ancient and intimate. New York was modern and vast and completely indifferent to the violence we'd left behind. The Tribeca apartment was exactly as Giorgio had described. 30th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson River. 3 bedrooms. Modern kitchen. The kind of place I'd only ever seen in magazines. Elena ran from room to room delighted. Her English was improving daily. She'd started smiling again. Giorgio stood at the window looking out at the city. What do you think? I think it's perfect. I wrapped my arms around him from behind. I think we're going to be happy here. He turned in my embrace. Kissed the top of my head. I'm opening a gallery. Soho. Luca's backing it. Legitimate operation. International art sales. I want you to run the translation division. Use your actual skills for actual business. And Elena? Private school in Brooklyn. Small classes. Trauma counselors on staff. She'll be safe. She'll heal. He cupped my face. We all will. 3 months later, the gallery opened. Maltese International Art occupied 3 floors of a converted warehouse in Soho. Exposed brick. Soaring ceilings. Carefully curated collections from Europe and Asia. I ran the language services. Translation. Interpretation. Cultural consultation. Legitimate work that paid legitimate money. Giorgio was good at it. Better than he'd expected. He had an eye for art. A gift for reading people. The charm he'd used to intimidate now served to negotiate. We were building something real. Elena thrived. Made friends. Started therapy. Began the long process of healing. And at night, Giorgio and I would stand at those windows overlooking the Hudson and talk about the future. About the wedding we were planning. Small ceremony. City Hall. Just us and Elena and a few trusted friends. About the life we were building. Clean. Honest. Far from the blood and shadows. About the children we might have someday. A family built on choice and love instead of violence and debt. I was happy. Genuinely, surprisingly happy. But Venice had taught me that happiness was fragile. That shadows had long reach. The call came on a Tuesday. Luca. Urgent. Controlled panic in his voice. Giorgio listened. His face went pale. Then hard. Just his voice. Flat. Deadly. He hung up. Looked at me. Franco had a brother. Younger. Follow. He just landed at Newark. Why? Revenge. For Franco. For the operation we destroyed. He's coming for us. I felt ice water in my veins. What do? We finish it. One last time. Then we're done. Completely done. He pulled me close. I need you to take Elena. Go to the safe house Luca set up in Connecticut. Armed guards. Secure location. You stay there until I call. No. Kara. No. I'm not hiding while you face this alone. We're partners. We face it together. Something happens to me, you need to be safe. Elena needs you. Something happens to you, I need to be there. To fight beside you. To save you the way you've saved me. He started to argue. Saw the steel in my eyes. Recognized his own stubbornness reflected back. Fine. But you stay behind me. You don't take risks. You trust me to handle this. I trust you with everything. Marco Grimaldi made his move at the gallery. Bold. Stupid. Desperate. He came during an opening. Champagne reception. Collectors and critics and innocent people who had no idea they'd just walked into a war zone. I saw him first. Recognized him from the photos Luca had sent. Younger version of Franco. Same cold eyes. Same entitlement. He was carrying. I could tell from the way his jacket hung. From the way he moved through the crowd with singular focus. Heading straight for Giorgio. I moved. Fast. Got between them just as Marco pulled the gun. Giorgio. He turned. Saw Marco. Saw the gun. Saw me standing in the line of fire. Everything slowed down. Marco's finger on the trigger. Giorgio reaching for me. My hands coming up like I could stop a bullet through will alone. Then someone else moved. Luca. He'd flown in that morning. Had been watching from the wings. Waiting for exactly this. He tackled Marco from the side. The gun went off. The bullet went wide. Hit a painting worth 6 figures. Giorgio had me. Pulled me down. Covered my body with his. More Corsini men appeared. Marco was subdued. Dragged out through the back entrance. The crowd was evacuated. Police were called. Cover story deployed. Gas leak. Everyone out. Gallery closed for safety inspection. In the aftermath, Giorgio held me. Shaking. You stepped in front of a gun. Do you have a death wish? I have a husband-to-be wish. Couldn't let him get shot at our gallery opening. This isn't funny. I know. I cupped his face. I know, Amore. But I'm tired of running. Tired of hiding. Tired of letting fear make decisions. He pressed his forehead to mine. You're going to give me a heart attack before I'm 40. Then marry me tomorrow. Give me your name before your heart gives out. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. City Hall. Elena and Luca as witnesses. Then we lock ourselves in the apartment for a week and forget the world exists. He kissed me. hard and desperate and full of promise. Tomorrow. We were married on a Wednesday in October. City Hall. Simple ceremony. Elena stood beside me in a yellow dress, beaming. Lucas stood beside Giorgio, the brother he'd chosen rather than the one he'd lost. I wore cream silk. No veil. Just flowers in my hair and the sapphire ring on my finger. Giorgio wore a dark suit that made him look less like a criminal and more like a man in love. When the officiant asked if we took each other, our answers rang clear and true. I do. We kissed as husband and wife while Elena cheered and Lucas smiled his rare, genuine smile. Afterward, we went to a small Italian restaurant in Little Italy. Family. The kind of place that reminded Giorgio of home but without the ghosts. We ate too much. Drank wine. Told stories. Elena asked if she could call us mom and dad. We both cried. That night, in our apartment overlooking the river, Giorgio and I stood at the window and watched the city lights. His arms were around me. My head rested on his shoulder. Are you happy, Signor Maltese? I'm happy, Signor Maltese. No regrets? About the violence. The danger. The life we left behind. Only one regret. What's that? I pulled back to look at him. That I didn't throw that champagne glass sooner. Could have saved us both a lot of time. He laughed. Rich and real and free. I love you, Piccola Volpe. My fierce little fox who slapped me and changed everything. I love you too, Giorgio. My reformed falcon who caught me when I fell. We kissed as the city spread below us. A future built on ruins. A love forged in fire. And somewhere in the night Venice slept. The shadows we'd left behind fading into memory while we built something new in the light. The gallery was thriving. 3 locations now. Soho. Los Angeles. Miami Beach. Elena was 14. Fluent in English. Top of her class. Talking about college already. About becoming a lawyer. About helping other victims. And I was pregnant. 3 months. Barely showing. But enough that Giorgio had become insufferably protective. We'd found out in the Miami gallery. I'd been feeling off. Tired. Nauseated. The doctor had smiled and handed me the test results. Congratulations, Mrs. Maltese. Giorgio had stood frozen. Looked at the paper. At me. At the paper again. Then he dropped to his knees and pressed his face to my stomach and cried. Baby. Our baby. Yes. A child who'll never know the life I came from. Who'll grow up with art and books and safety. A child who'll know their father is a good man who made himself better. I'd run my fingers through his hair. Our happy ending, amore. Now, a year after we'd married, we stood on the beach in Miami. Sunset painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Elena was in the surf, laughing with friends from her new school. Giorgio's hand rested on my growing belly. Tell me this is real. That we're really here. Really safe. Really happy. Real. I turned in his arms. He saved me, Giorgio. From boredom. From a life half-lived. From never knowing what it meant to be truly alive. He saved me first. From becoming the monster everyone thought I was. From losing myself completely to the darkness. He kissed me as the sun set on our old lives and rose on our new one. We were far from Venice. Far from shadows. Far from the violence that had brought us together. But we carried the scars. The memories. The knowledge that sometimes love is born in darkness and chooses light. And every day we chose each other. Again and again and again.